Thank you for taking some time for yourself, and you can wonder as you settle in just how comfortable a slow afternoon in a country town can become when the internet slows down to a gentle crawl. And perhaps you wouldn't mind noticing the way a television screen flickers at 6 p.m, casting a soft, steady glow across the room. And I wonder if you'll be curious as you notice the slow, rhythmic cadence of those wooden dory rowboats, pulling through the water, pull and release, pull and release. And you can wonder what it feels like when the world slows down to the speed of a 90s power ballad, and sooner or later, I don't know just when, your mind begins to drift, letting go of the ordinary rush of the day. I wonder if you'll enjoy how naturally, how easily your attention can absorb into slow motion movement of the scene, almost as if time itself becomes wonderfully flexible, stretching out, bending and letting go of strict boundaries. One of the first things you can become aware of is the effortless expression of relaxation taking over. As your perception shifts, almost as if the details of the room fade just a bit, leaving only the sound of the ocean, the steady rhythm, and the quiet comfort of the present moment. And you don't need to be concerned if your mind wanders or plays with the imagery of sun-soaked beaches, rippling mussels, and dramatic camera angles, because all that really matters and all that's really important is your own inner comfort and willingness to experiment with deep relaxation. It's going to be a pleasure to discover how deeply you can rest, letting your thoughts fluctuate, drifting between the humor and the quiet stillness underneath. And as that occurs, you really can't help but notice how naturally your breathing deepens, how easily your muscles let go, and how nice it is to simply allow yourself to experience a brand new sense of calm right here, right now. It was 6 p.m. The internet was moving so slowly, was practically backing up. And I was trapped on the couch watching regional television. Then Baywatch graced the screen, instantly plunging me into a hypnotic, highly oiled state of psychological captivity. And let's be honest, that rowing scene was an infomercial for pectoral muscles. You're sitting there in the quiet of a country town, staring at the bot, and suddenly David Hasselhoff and the boys are giving you a masterclass in aggressive, competitive wetness. Every single camera shot was dialed in at a precise, low angle to capture the exact moment a bicep flexed under a cascade of ocean spray. It wasn't cinematography. It was an anatomy textbook brought to life. by people who spent 90% of their daily budget on baby oil. Normal rowing is an exhausting, ugly sport involving red faces, grunting, and bad posture. Not here. These men were pulling those heavy, wooden oars with the delicate, sensual precision of someone holding a champagne flute at a high society gala. Every pull of the oar was synchronized to look like an interpretive dance about how much they loved their own upper bodies. Picture it. The sun is setting. The slow motion is dialed up to a blistering 5% speed, and the soaring power ballad of Healing Waters by Starship is playing over men in skin-tight red spandex, gritting their teeth with so much smouldering intensity, you half expected the ocean to start boiling. You weren't just watching a show anymore. You were hypnotized by a rotating carousel of hair flip physics. Every time an oar entered the water, it felt like an invitation to join a very specific cult, where the only entry requirements were a deep tan, a symmetrical jawline, and the ability to look devastatingly sad while holding a piece of nautical equipment. By the time the scene finally ended, I wasn't just thinking about the plot, Al Gibson, or why they were in a boat. I was just there wondering if the local hardware store sold whatever industrial-grade waterproofing wax they were using on their shoulders. And you can wonder what happens when your brain gets all tangled up in yesterday's mess or tomorrow's to-do list, totally forgetting about the actual couch you're sitting on right now. Because let's be honest, that kind of stress is just a sneaky little glitch. A classic case of living everywhere in your head, except the present moment. Dragging around heavy stuff that doesn't even matter anymore. And maybe you wouldn't mind noticing the sudden, massive sigh of relief that rolls through you. Pure, sweet catharsis, dropping that heavy backpack of stress right onto the floor and kicking it away. Almost as if those old worries and freakouts just detach from their emotional volume knob, turning the static down to zero and floating off like background noise while you watch the waves. And just by shifting the angle a little bit, reframing the whole picture, you realize how ridiculous those old pressures look when you're not sweating them. It's like zooming out and seeing that mountain was actually just a tiny little molehill all along. As your focus reorganizes itself, you might start turning up the volume on a brand new superpower. Total calm, easy breathing, and a built-in sense of, I've totally got this. Imagine fast forwarding just a little bit into your future week, taking this brand new, chill version of yourself out for a spin to see how smoothly everything goes. And just in case you ever feel yourself starting to wind up tight again, or even if you just happen to catch a stray mental image of a guy in red trunks rowing in slow motion, your brain's got a brand new shortcut. That's your post-hypnotic trigger. Instant access to this exact feeling of grounded, unbothered peace. So sooner or later, whenever you're ready, you can let yourself drift right back up. Take a good, deep breath in, and as you let it go, open your eyes, stretch out, and welcome yourself right back to the room, fully awake, fully refreshed, and completely here. Welcome back. You are perfect just as you are.